My name is Peter Sloan, a principal at 360 Architecture, and I was the lead architect and designer for the renovation of the whole person building at 3710 Main. It was an extraordinary project for our firm and me personally because it was really about transforming something into a use that perhaps couldn't be imagined by many, and we think has merit for even more. The building here, a very historic building that was really dilapidated for a long time. It was originally go back from 1929, was a textile factory that actually made men's underwear of all things. And it's a really great building that just needed a little bit of love. But with any historic building, it required a lot of thinking, and particularly for a use with the whole person, which really was about finding users that had a universal design need that would be supportive and encouraging and ultimately be a demonstrative example of what they're wanting to promote within the community, within their own clients, and even with their own staff. It really began as a very collaborative effort to try to look at the building and understand what the paths and how to support that, maintain the historic aspect of the building, because part of the process was going after historic tax credits. More importantly, at the end of the day, we wanted to create something that was extraordinarily happy and something that was joyful, that celebrated life beyond belief, that ultimately had opened its arms to anybody that wanted to walk in the building. And a big part of that was creating a whole bunch of spaces on the first floor that were really geared towards the community. A series of various conference rooms that are consultation rooms, a community room that were bright and vibrant, that really allowed anybody to walk in the building to understand that no matter who you are was something that was really, really important. Every thought through this building was intended to be about how do we let the building speak to the users come in and have them understand that this is a special place that is actually not so special that it can't be done anywhere else. That it really is intended to create a built environment that is very welcoming for others and for all, and that no matter who you are, it will work for you. And that is the true definition in our mind of what universal design is to create something that is universally applicable no matter who the user is, but is sensitive enough to be specific and humble enough to take into account of all the things that are really important to all. One of the big decisions we had in the building had to do with putting underfloor access and underfloor air in the building, which was initially a small premium to make that in the building, particularly for an adaptive reuse type building, but it really paid dividends because it allowed us to do many things. It allowed a much quieter environment because it delivered air as quietly as possible. It was also very cost efficient from an energy perspective, which was a big important kind of criteria for this building. We wanted to be very green and focus on sustainability in some of the decisions. So that was a big piece. Finding some lighting that was well illuminated and creating an environment that was bright but not over bright. There's a lot of natural windows that we sort of worked in together, but all the lighting was done really with understanding of all the different light levels that were necessary for all the users. We looked carefully about kind of the carpet and all the floor surfaces, knowing that there's a different need for chairs and tactile aspects within it. And we're very sensitive to that and use that for textural transitions and colors, because there's a lot of columns in the building, and we worked very carefully to try to put those in places that really were not obstructions and were not barriers. Within the color scheme as well, we also tried to thematically create it so it became zoned that was intuitive. So green areas had to do with circulation areas, and the blue areas had to do with kind of water and use areas that way, and orange areas that are sort of bright colors were work areas. And those become thematic throughout that also helped part of the branding that was really extending kind of what whole person was out there in the community as well. Acoustics was always a very, very big deal as well, and so we were very careful about, with the existing structure, which was a lot of exposed concrete, we're very methodical about trying to put material on there that kept it as quiet as possible. Other interesting decisions had to do with just trying to create doors and entryways that required low or no dexterity, removing doors from kind of the restroom areas and sort of making sure that that worked well. Hands-free kind of doors when you come into the building was kind of a big deal. Organizing the parking lot outside in a way that really the ramp is really the main entry and the stairs are kind of the side entry as opposed to what most people have done. Also creating within the building itself some office spaces that just for the first time motivate these people that do an amazing job reaching out to the community, of having them work in a space, quite honestly, that they've deserved for a long time. That can allow them to do their job and serve the clients that are really in desperate need of help and support in a way that is unequaled. One of the big decisions we had to make, and it was talked about a great deal, and goes back to the importance of creating a community room that would allow functions and outside users to come in and use that so they could understand the whole person in a great way. And within that room, working with another one of the many partners that worked on this project, Global Prairie, created a wonderful storytelling board that told the story of kind of the disability rights movement throughout the whole piece, that really is all about a tool to help people understand where they are today and, more importantly, where they need to go.
Connecting people with disabilities
to the resources
they need.